Car Guy channel. The Car Guy channel. My name is Mike Hennessy. This show is all about cars and all four car guys. Get yourself a cold beer. Get yourself a cold beer, guys, because our show is... We are smoking! I'm Mike Hennessy, and you're watching the Car Guy channel. I have an auto repair shop. I've been in the business for over 30 years. You name it, we got it, we built it, we've done it, we do it. We love this car stuff, and I hope you guys do too. We're gonna have a lot of fun, got a lot of stuff cooking, so just stay tuned. Welcome to the Car Guy channel. We have a great episode, a lot of cool stuff going on. COVID-19 pretty much kicked a lot of butts out there for a lot of businesses, a lot of things being out there. We hope everybody's healthy, hope everybody's doing well. Kind of nice to see everything back together. The politics involved pretty much drove a lot of people nuts, drove me nuts. To be honest, I like to keep my show very honest. I had COVID back in August. It was a very, very difficult 3 weeks of my life. And I don't know how to, thank my wife enough, Susan, just being there for me. My good buddy, Dr. Rich Sieve and Terry Sullivan, some of the great support I really had through all this. Keith Kalaris and Mark Blasovich, everybody checked in on how things were going. I'll have to honestly admit, it's a serious deal. I do believe that people live through it, and that's kind of what goes on. And part of me mentioning this is to thank everybody. We had tons of emails. I got a lot of cards, a lot of letters, a lot of great stuff. I don't know how to thank everybody out there enough. Hope I can get it through when I do the show, you see the show, and understand that I really, really appreciate it, and it really means a lot. If anybody's out there going through anything like that, you know what a card or a nice statement meant, and they were all just fantastic. But to get back to the car world, we're back working on cars. My staff is going. We were a type of business we were allowed to be open. We kept our gates somewhat closed. We only took in projects that we could. We got a lot of my stuff kind of going, as you're seeing as the show goes on today. All sorts of interesting projects going on. The 56 Chevy that just came in. We're talking just came in the day before we're airing the show. The day before, got it in, and I want to thank the Fitzgerald family, and the show's dedicated to the Fitzgerald family for this car. Bernie started a project, and this, unfortunately, the way life went, he didn't get a chance to finish it. We're going to finish it and keep that on the show. So I want to thank Carol and Angie for getting a hold of me and putting this whole deal together. Got the Cameo truck. You guys got to see the Cameo truck. And when you see the Hollywood Graham, you're going to say, Mike, you're nuts. I had to do it right. It has to be fun. That's part of us being in the street world. Sit down, get yourself a cold one, enjoy the show. There's no doubt guys like trucks, gals like trucks, everybody likes trucks. The cool thing in the 50s is they made a lot of trucks out there, Chevrolet and Ford and Dodge. I happened to come across a 1956 Chevrolet Cameo. Now the Cameos, they actually some people list them as a pickup. They were not really called a pickup. They were actually called a Cameo, was a carrier. And the reason why they were carriers is because they had a fiberglass bed on the back. Cameos had all the bells and whistles on them when they sold. They did sell them with a V8, and they did sell them with a 6-cylinder. They did sell them with a 4-speed hydromatic automatic transmission, and they did sell them with the 3-speed on the tree on the column, and they did have a compound load transmission for some of them that were special orders. Not too many of them were out there like that. They were kind of useless, and you don't want to use a Cameo carrier as a pickup truck actually on a ranch. But let's take you through this project I picked up. I'm just so excited about it, and it's kind of one of the new pieces that we're putting on the show. Let's show you a 1956 Chevrolet Cameo carrier. When building a project like this, the exciting thing is almost like a puzzle. Remember building a model at home or building a puzzle? When we got a car, the car was all disassembled. But the neat thing was it was disassembled and then it was kind of brought back up by the previous owners. They painted it. They did a lot of interior work. They did all sorts of things. We're going to redo a few stuff because it's been sitting for a long period of time. And part of the research of building this particular truck is the emblems. And I like the emblems to be period correct, which means you could paint these a lot of different colors. In the front, when you order some catalogs, there's some reproduction stuff out. Some of the reproduction stuff out, I hate to admit it, I'm going to say it on the show, don't shoot me, don't kill me. Some of this reproduction stuff is absolute junk. So I like to use the best I possibly can, and this is the original piece. So we stripped this all down with acid, and we're going to go ahead and paint these the correct color. Now in 1956, the painting inside here is the color black, which will be all through there. And I have seen some in red, but doing the history and doing some of the research on it, the correct way for a 1956 would be black, and a 1957 would be in red. It's not as clean as it really should be, but we're showing you this how we got it. That's why we're filming this truck today, to show you really how it is. So check out under the hood. This is the power plant. Now, just to give you an idea, 1956 was the year of the 265. It was the second year. First year of a V8 overhead valve hydraulic lifter motor was Chevrolet 265 was in 1955. They carried the same motor into 1956, which is the V8 car. Now, of course, everybody says, you know, the 283. Well, the 283 came out in 1957, not to confuse you. So the 265 was in 2 years, and that's what they put into this Cameo truck. Now, this is an original truck with an actual original V8 in it. This right here was sold with a 265 two-barrel carburetor with a 3-speed stick on the column. We're pulling all this back out. Sounds like a shame, but that's what we're doing. But I want this truck absolutely spectacular. A Cameo to me is the holy grail of all the General Motors trucks, or pretty much all the trucks actually in the 50s. And there's a piece of information I didn't tell you. In 1956, they only did 1,403 Cameos were built in 1956. They were very, very low production. Cameos came out really in 1955, 56, 57, and yes, a 58. Out of all those 4 years, Cameo trucks, there's less than 10,000 of them were ever built from the factory. So the rarity and the novelty of these are very, very strong, and the value of them is very, very high. Hey, let's check out the inside. I'll show you what we got. Now, to show you the inside of this truck and show you what the outside is, this trim right here. Now, again, I want to express the thing is that the Cameo had all the options as far as looks: chrome knobs, chrome trim, two-tone paints. All Cameos were two-tone. Now, in 1955, all Cameos were white, and this was red. And on this particular truck, this happens to be kind of an ivory cream color, and this right here is the turquoise blue. All of the Cameos had all the trim that goes around all the windows and doors and stuff. They were fully trimmed out, and I kind of like that a lot. Well, we picked up this truck. Here's kind of the novelty of it. I got to show you. Now, I feel like I'm talking to you one-on-one, you know, in the living room or like the garage called bench racing, is that when I got this truck, I went ahead and bought it, kind of, I don't want to say sight unseen. I had to look at it, and I had to look the thing over. I had how much time, put the deal together and whatnot. I had no idea how really good it was. These door handles were actually brand new when they were put on. The cabs were painted. I couldn't tell because it was covered in dirt. This thing was in storage for nearly almost 30 years. And all the new latches were put on. New rubber was on the doors. This truck is kind of cool. Let's take a look at the inside, and I'll show you the seats in the vehicle were all redone, and I didn't know it. You're going to take a look at the dash. Check it out. Check out these Cameo seats. So this material is Cameo only. And I use that word quite a bit about Cameo because they are that special. And the seats are just fantastic. And these were redone and they were installed. I had no idea that this vehicle had all new seats in it. Now, Cameo had a two-tone dash. This is kind of unusual to have the go-ahead and have this Gerwood green color on the top of it. Of course, with the turquoise, blue-green, there's a couple technical terms for it. But all the knobs in a Cameo are all chrome-plated. And that right there is some of the really cool options that they have. In the two-tone, I really like that a lot. And we didn't do nothing to the dash, right? What you're seeing is us cleaning everything here out. The steering column out, I'll show you that in a few minutes. The steering column's been out of the car because we're painting the center of the tube, which is supposed to be correct, this particular color. It took us a while to get the mix for this, but God, our painter Raul, he can come up with a color on anything. He can paint the moon, and it's pretty incredible. So we're going to get the color matching for that. But now you get a chance to see what the inside of a Cameo is about, and you're going to be seeing this vehicle here as we're going to be building it, because hopefully we get this thing here on the road. We're looking at about 60 days on it because a lot of stuff is done. Okay. The sticker right here for the VIN number on these is always on the driver's side upper pillar on it, and has the code numbers of the VIN number. It might be kind of hard to see in this. This would be bead and clean, but the nice thing is you can see the V and the emblems up here, the V3A. Now the A actually stands for a V8, and that is the huge deal for the Cameo trucks. I just love it. That makes a big, big deal on it. And if you notice, the speedometer is 30,115. That's low miles. To give you an idea how really rare and unique the designer of this vehicle was Chuck Jordan, who's the designer of Chevrolet, the key designer of building the Cameo design. When he came up with the Cameo Carry, he wanted something kind of flashy, something kind of neat in the truck industry. This is the actual truck bed. All the beds are all white. That's the way they're done. This right here is all white. All the trucks are all white, and the fenders to these are all fiberglass. The tailgates on these are just very, very unique. It's almost like a tailgate to a station wagon. These right here, they're pretty hard to pull, but this is a spring-loaded retractor, just like a tape measure would be. And they bolt to back of the inside the truck here. They come out this hole, and there's a cable that opens up the tailgate and close it. These kind of help you, open and close. They're really cool. What a design. It really wasn't as heavy duty as you would kind of think on some of the trucks. That's why they really called them a carrier. Now, to give you an idea how light these back fenders are, I mean, pretty much about anybody, can go ahead and lift one up very comfortably. These right here bolt to the bed. You get these, there's 8 bolts to each side, these bolt to the bed, and they took a passenger car taillight from 1954, which are very rare and very unique for the Cameos. They're very expensive, roughly about $1,500 for just a pair of them that go on the back. All Cameos had chrome bumpers, front and rear also, so any of the real goodies and option stuff, that's really the way they were sold. Now, I don't normally give automotive repair tips or whatnot how to do stuff, but I'm going to tell you what I really firmly think. Any of you out there building a car, doing a car, anything like this, or pretty much any project you got around the house, but I'm kind of anal about this particular part. This is the way we got the truck. A lot of boxes, a lot of parts, individual stuff. We had to go through a lot of stuff to go ahead and get this whole vehicle kind of together. But I wanted to know really what we had, and I like to know what we did not have. What we don't have is pretty important to me, especially if I have to start buying parts. And what stuff is restorable or replaceable. And it had a type of socket like this here that fits into these, and they're called clutch heads. And so there's 4 different sizes, all through most General Motors vehicles in the 50s. And the clutch head is kind of a pretty big deal to use to get them out. And of course, I do want to go ahead and try to put clutch head screws back into it if I can. And you kind of want to put it back together right and knowing what you have. So we kind of lay everything out to find out really what we got, how we're going to put this back together. And I'll show you a couple other parts that I think make a world of difference for this truck. Now, when you look at this, don't be totally confused because we're in the process of building. I was just excited to put it on the show. And people that don't know anything much about a Cameo, I thought it'd be a pretty good idea to at least give you what we got. This is part of the back bumper. And the reason why you don't see everything all together because of the chrome is already at the chrome shop, which that's a whole nother story and a whole nother cost. That's a whole nother world. But they don't make reproduced bumpers for these. There's a bumper breadth that goes here. Now, this right here is actual, it's a door. And this is part of the back bumper. The back bumper goes from here, goes to the other end over there. The back bumper, this right here folds down, and the spare tire goes right underneath this. Very, very clever. And Cameo is the only vehicle that did it. But you'll be seeing a lot of this truck here as we're going along with the show. Had to show it to you. One of my latest projects, but I think we got to get in the shop. I got to bring you up to speed on a project car that we've been doing. It's been on the show a few times, and I kind of got, I hope you can understand what I'm saying. I kind of got mad at the car. I said, I'm going to turn this thing into the car that it really should be. Let's go check it out. Your boss just came by, and I said, I never met you before, have I?
No, we haven't met.
We haven't been that fortunate, have we?
No, we haven't.
Now, how long have you been here?
I've been about a year and a half now.
Now, I asked him earlier, how does he hire? When you came in for your job here, what was your qualifications come in?
I just came in, basically had a good reference from my buddy Mark, and talked to Mark here for a little bit about just my overall car knowledge, and he felt comfortable with me.
Hey, what the hell is your car knowledge?
My car knowledge, I do a lot of four-wheel drive stuff, building some small projects right now, but...
So if a guy's got a 4x4 thing, you can help answer questions that one of these other techs can't.
Exactly.
Good. Now, how old are you?
I'm 24.
24 years old. Do you want to make this a career? Is what you're working on?
I'm trying to work into it, yeah.
It's kind of cool, though, isn't it? There's some money to make in it.
There is.
Plus, you got to admit it. This is fun.
It's fun stuff. It is.
Yeah.
I do enjoy getting up and coming to my job in the morning.
And the other thing is he gets a lot of his parts at wholesale.
Exactly.
We're probably,
Makes projects a little easier.
And we're kind of our own enemy sometimes because, we're trying to get our parts going.
Exactly.
But you learn what's hot, what's not, what's new, what's exciting, and what's new that works that don't work. From customers and whatnot.
Yeah.
Good, buddy. Good job. We'll be seeing you through, and you got my orders coming through in the car, so get that stuff at my shop ASAP. I basically take precedence over any customer.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Boy, Elijah, well done.
Darling, you send me. I know you send me. Darling,
This car right here, I've always loved it, always liked it. I bought this car out of Oregon, and it was the Hollywood Graham. And very, very rare. The body was cut in half, put back together and make it a two-door, which they never made a two-door Graham. Person owned it, died, passed away, and never finished the project. Had a North Star Cadillac engine in it. The problem with the North Star engine in it was the person who designed that computer for that car, he's not around anymore. The wiring in the car was designed. We had a heck of a time getting it running and to be dependable. And I kind of got done, I'm going to use the word farting around with it because it's just not going to work. So I had a big meeting with my staff. I said, what are we going to do with this car? I'm not happy with this North Star engine. And even though it looked really cool, had a great sound, had all the things that you guys and myself all love, but I had to change it. So I went ahead and used a Chevy 350 4-bolt main that I had in my inventory, but everything brand new on it, polished aluminum, new carb, new intake, 4-bolt main engine, all new, rebuilt a transmission for this, so it's a nice automatic. This car right here should be fantastic. Apparently with the Hollywood Graham motor, the Cadillac North Star in the Hollywood Graham, the motor ran really too hot. They normally run really around 210, normally close to 220. Being in a straight rod, it was a bad choice. It was a bad decision to make when they went ahead and did it. So when we bought the car, I decided to finish it the same way he did. That was kind of my fault. So I had a little bit of money wasted into it, but apparently that's what we kind of do. When you're watching the show, you're nodding your head going, yeah, I think I put some parts in my car I probably shouldn't have. That's the way this world is. That's what our hobby's about. That's where I'm at with the Graham. So I put this engine into it. I'm very pleased about the car. It's going to come out just fantastic. And had to have the drive shaft, obviously still custom made. It's aluminum drive shaft. Did a lot of stuff. We rechanged the complete brake system in the car. And then we found a few mistakes that were in the design. When the car was actually designed back in the 90s, that's really when they were doing some stuff. The guy probably spent 10 years on the project. He spent over $200,000 on the frame, the body, all the interior, the leather, Conley leather. It was a big production. So I changed it back around, going with the General Motors Chevrolet 350. And what you see here is really what we got. And this car here is going to be spectacular. You're going to see it at the next show on display. I think everybody out there can tell that I'm crazy about trucks. Loved trucks as a kid in high school. I drove a 1955 Ford pickup back and forth to school. No power steering, 292 engine in it, 3-speed on the column. And that's what I drove. Always loved trucks, been building them for years. And I pulled this here out of storage to go ahead and show you guys and gals, a 1940 Ford truck. We went ahead, this is V8'd, this is automatic. This is one of the best driving straight rods I think I've ever had anything to do with, build, work around, and it's just a fantastic vehicle all the way around. And it's done kind of in a tomato red, a nice color, and it's an older restoration. We were involved in this, I want to say, not quite 20 years ago, but pretty darn close. Just to show you how this vehicle can turn out, like we showed you the Cameo earlier and some of the other projects that we're working on. And the inside, this is power steering, power brakes, the automatic shift on the floor. I really kind of pulled it out, so still can kind of show you a little bit about some of the trucks. We kind of parked it in the corner because the way the weather's been and things we got going on. Check out this 1940 Ford. I'm going to be selling it, not put it on the show for sale, but I'm going to be selling it, and because it's really time to go and move on because of projects that I got coming in. You see the Cameo and a couple other ones I'm going to show you on the show today.
You know I can't live out sitting home all alone. If you can't come around, at least be a telephone. Don't be cruel to all that's true.
Here's a project that I got to show you and got to talk about. This right here is a 1956 Bel Air Four-Door Sport top, which is mean no post. Could be considered a 4-door hardtop, some people call, but the correct verbiage and the correct writing of it was a sports roof. That means there's no pillar on it. Now, before I get into too much of the car has a story, and a great story. Met the family, I met Carol, I met the daughter, I met all the people involved in this, and I talked to her on the phone, and she told me about the car, the parts they had available for it. And it was a project that her dad, Bernie, started many, many years ago. And he always had a 56 Chevy and had one stolen, which the daughter, Angie had no idea that this particular car had this particular story behind it, because he had one when it was in earlier years, the high school years is going on, he had one stolen from him. And he said someday he's gonna get that 56 Chevrolet, get one back in his archives. And of course time goes on, figures a married guy, he's got kids going on, he's got a house, got a job. He finally winds up picking up this particular car. He started the project on it pretty much about maybe 15 years ago. Not quite 20 or so from what I can gather in the paperwork, and unfortunately Bernie passed away before he could finish the project. And then the car this is the way it kind of sat, but it was a body off restoration car. We're going to be showing you some photographs in there, a little bit of Bernie and the family, and I'm kind of dedicating this particular show really to the Fitzgerald family. I like that they called me. The other part is they like the fact that I'm going to own the car, and we are going to go ahead and build it and put the car together. But a lot of neat features helps us a lot. The paint work was already done. There's going to be some touch-up stuff. The hood has some problems that we'll show you here on the show today, but the parts, my guys are organizing all the parts as we speak, putting things away until we actually get to the full complete build of the car. But the story of it was really kind of cool. I kind of liked that when he started the restoration project. He was buying parts from Dan, Chuck, all these places. He's categorizing them all. His wife Carol had shelves all in the garage with all sorts of parts listed on there. Angie's boxing up stuff. She's boxing up stuff because they kind of want to sell the house too. And they had so we kind of worked as a team. It was a lot of fun, and they were just great people to meet, and I'm really honored that they really wanted me to take the project on, finish it, and hopefully that we do real well with the car in both ways, with awards, and of course we do probably maybe sell it someday, but it is part of the business. Unfortunately, this is business of it when it comes to money in this, but I really enjoy it. Anybody who watches the show know I'm passionate about this. So let's take a look at this car over. We got that out of the way. Let's check out what a 56 Bel Air is all about. The color is called Sierra Gold, and then for the Bel Airs, there were two-tone. There's Sierra Gold with really the beige two-tone. It's not quite a white. It's kind of not even really kind of an eggshell, kind of a creamy white. Great touch, great color combo. But I still was able to get some of the reflection of some of the paint reaction that they had on the hood. That's the spot that's not on the fenders or anywhere else that we can find, but it is a negative, because to match this color and paint it and make it match is going to be very difficult, because this is a very unique color, and it's going to be kind of hard to do, but we're going to give it a try. We've been known to do it. And the car was kind of on an island here near San Francisco, where the storage garage was. It was indoor stored for all these years, but some of the air kind of got into some of these pieces after the restoration. So some stuff will need to be taken apart on the car. And you can kind of tell that the firewall was done, the fenders were installed afterwards, all the cadmium plated nuts and bolts are all on. But when he put this car here together, he used a Chevy 350. He used a 700R 4-speed automatic transmission. If you guys and gals know about that, that's a really great touch for it. Power brakes, power steering, disc brakes. I mean, has the vintage air conditioning in. A lot of it's got to be kind of redone or reworked with, because I do want it to be nice. The frame is painted the same color as the car. And that's kind of a real street rod, kind of an interesting choice to do, and it does look spectacular. It's a great look on it. He did the black under here. A lot of things he did were very good touch. Of course, the Be Cool, the big system on the radiator to keep this car running cool, running air conditioning, figure he has a family. And they're going to be using this type of car. A lot of great options, a lot of great parts, and there's so much about being a Bel Air. It gives it the whole world. Now, Bel Air is the rarest Bel Air model of a car is actually the 210. They only built about 20,000 of the 210s of the sport roof cars. But when the Bel Air model came with the V8s, that all of them had the big V8 emblems on them, when the Bel Airs all trimmed out. They trimmed the Bel Airs, which that really makes these cars spectacular. That's to me, the holy grail is the Bel Air, with the type of trim they have on the car, but they had a lot of options. Some had 6 cylinders, of course, but this car here was factory V8 car, factory automatic car when it was born from the factory. But we're going to go ahead and finish this car here back up. We checked the serial numbers on the car. Again, like we showed you on the Cameo, it has to have the right digits on it to be a factory Bel Air. This car is a factory Bel Air car. I gather you can see from everything that's still filmed in here, the type of work that we got ahead of us coming up. A lot of the oxidations have to be cleaned off because it sat around. The chrome-plated power steering pump box will need to be done. Of course, this would be best just to throw that away. But luckily, the paint on the firewall is nice. A lot of the fittings, it'd be nice to get those cleaned off, get the oxidation off, things like this. Might be best to replace this. Same here. Unfortunately, when I was teased about aftermarket parts, some of these parts aren't made in America, and this right here wasn't really cadmium plated enough with a gold anodized paint, I should say, to really hold up against oxidation. Some items will hold up really good on oxidation. This does not. We'll probably be changing a lot of the gas filter system. It's kind of hokey to me. We'll be replacing some of those things under the hood. But you can kind of see really what we're going to be doing. We got the work cut out for us. We're looking forward to it, and I think it should clean up, and it should clean up pretty well. It's just a lot of work that needs to be done. Let's check out the rest of the car. It's pretty cool stuff. They put all the VIN plates again, just like they did on the Cameo truck, right on the pillars. They do it right on here. This right here helps you decipher some of the coding on the car, if that can help you out. Go online to figure a lot of stuff off. When I first looked at the car, you could probably tell there's no door here, but all the hinges have been replaced and ready to go. A lot of new parts were put into it. A lot of great stuff were put in the car, but if you can notice that on the steering wheel, this is a 3-bar wheel. All Bel Airs are a 3-bar steering wheel. Other steering wheels are a 2-bar, but 3-bar is kind of something that they used for them. It's one of those added features that Bel Air did use. Now, if we can go ahead and zoom to where the speedometer head is, this right here is not a factory speedometer head for 56 Chevrolet. This is a Dakota Digital. And these are very, very cool. They're very expensive. The whole dash will be completely digitized on all its readings and whatnot goes into it. All the stuff up here has been replaced. And of course, we'll need new carpets, and we have new seal plates and all sorts of items. As you can see, the whole dash, and of course the clock on that side. Now, the other thing is we did not unload this car yet. I'm showing you exactly how we got it. So as the future of the show goes on, you're going to see really how we're doing on the car, what we're doing, how we're building it, and putting it all together. The 56 had a very unique gas cap lid, and it's part of the taillight. Taillight goes here, you turn this bar, open it up, and that's how you put gas in the car. Very, very neat feature. These are just spectacular. You can see the quality level of the everything, all the new parts put into the car. These are all new also, and there's a lot of new parts that really help this project work for us. Otherwise, if it did not have these type of parts, one of the people who know that a lot of stuff has to be redone, that's done on the car, which we're willing to do, and that's what we bought it for. So I'm pretty excited about this project. So take a look at it, check it out.
Well, I love you, darling. Come and go with me. Please don't send me way beyond the sea. I need you, darling. So come go with me.
I hope you enjoyed the show. A lot of jam-packed stuff is in there. The Hollywood Graham is hours, minutes away from actually firing up and running, and we're really excited about that to get the exhaust put on the car. We're going to do a whole episode on that. And we're going to do an episode really on the finishing of the Cameo and the 56 Bel Air. Great project. If you got a project going on, send me some pictures of what's going on. I kind of like to know what you've been doing for the last couple months. Send me a note. Feel free. I'm open all the time. I return all my calls and all my emails. Thanks for watching, and God bless you, and hang in there.
Darling, we will never part. I need you, darling.